We had kids coming out, older men, thousands of people. We had men that brought extra suits and ties for people that didn't have it. That was incredible. Just seeing that was like, that gave me hope. It really, really, really touched my heart and made me feel like, I'm making a difference. We're all making a difference.
Hi guys, I'm Thomas. It's nice to virtually meet all of you. Let's start with just basic introductions.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Garmon. I'm a wardrobe stylist.
I'm Brandon Murphy. I am a designer. I have a brand, BMC.
My name is Harold Waight, Harold James Alexander Waight, to be more accurate. I am an art curator and an artist here in Brooklyn, New York City. I help establish platforms for those in the LGBTQ plus communities and minority communities to have a place to showcase their artwork.
Your first protest was on June 4th. This coincided with George Floyd's funeral. Talk to me about why you wanted to create your own protest.
So I originally was inspired by another protest that was going on, actually. And I knew how important this one would be. And I wanted New York to get a piece of that as well. And we just really wanted to commemorate and honor him and our other brothers and sisters that we've lost. And it was just really important for us to do that and to show our respects for George Floyd.
Basically, the why we wanted to do this was also to create a sense of unity within our community. The reason why we wore the suits also was unity, and also to create a different vision in the media against not only Black men, but men and women of color. And I think it really boosted the morale in everybody. Everybody felt spiritually uplifted because, not for nothing, these are very, very heavy times. And we wanted to bring people together to feel, hey, we can do this if we work together, and we can really make a difference in a very powerful and an impactful way.
You sort of touched on my next point. Thinking about like the 60s civil rights activists used dress as a tool of resistance, helping to sort of shape how they were seen in the media. Talk to me a little bit about that history and what that means to you now, and then how that influenced your protest today and the idea to sort of dress for your best.
Back in the civil rights era, I think dressing up wasn't as, taboo or as it is today. Men and women dressed up all the time. Men wore three-piece suits, top hats, good shoes. And I think just the fact that they were in suits, like today, it shows optics in media. And it creates a different vision of how Black people are perceived in America and in this country. So, we definitely wanted to expound upon that vision. Definitely we were inspired by the 60s civil rights activists. Of course, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Bayard Rustin, and the list goes on and on.
Just to piggyback off of what Brandon just said, when it comes down to dressing up, I'll be honest with you guys, I did get some feedback about, we shouldn't have to dress up, we shouldn't have to put on suits, we shouldn't have to be a certain way in order for us to get respect. But it was just more so, this is our way of honoring the lives that were lost. This is what we chose to do. And I think, as individuals and creatives, we should all have the liberty to be able to express ourselves the way that we want to. And that for us was through fashion.
And to kind of piggyback off of Harold, I've received the feedback as well. And we're all artists, we're visuals. Fashion is our first love. So that's how I will express myself always. If we look back, even prior to civil rights movements, we can look back to the women's liberation movement with their bras, or even the Black Panthers, like their uniform. Like, it's something about a uniform that just unifies and shows more respect and gets our point across.
Anything that you do, you're gonna get feedback, positive or negative. But I think if you stick to your vision and that, what you're doing comes from the heart and it's right within yourself, then there's really not much anything, anybody can say about it or what you're doing. We're out here trying to get our voices heard, and we're trying to make a difference. And if us putting on suits shows unity and a different vision in the media, I think that's our point has been made.
I know next up is the Juneteenth March on Friday. How have you been mobilizing to organize for Friday's protest? Is there a similar situation with the dress suggestion for the event? And then ultimately, what are the goals for Friday's March protest?
We're doing the first annual Juneteenth March. At City Hall, we're circling City Hall on June 19th at 2 p.m. We want all the boroughs to come out: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Staten Island. We're going to be starting at Century Street and Chambers. Juneteenth, just to give you guys a little bit of a background, that was the day that slavery was abolished, the ending of slavery in the United States. So Juneteenth is actually a very, very historical celebration, and it's worldwide. The thing that we want to do on Friday is just to continue that celebration, but also bring light to what's going on in this world right now. You know, we're seeing a lot of reckless police brutality and abuse that has been happening to not only Black men and women, but our trans brothers and sisters and non-binaries. People are getting massacred out here just for being themselves and being different. And, we want to continue that sense of unity and have our voices amplified even more. And we've had some progress, which is great, but we're not satisfied. We want to continue that fight and keep working. So Friday is going to be a really, really big day. And
with Friday, people are asking, are we going to be in suits? Are they allowed to, come out and be dressed in however they want to? And the answer is all are welcomed. This was one question that was also proposed the first March when women saw the flyer and they wanted to be included, and we said, this is for everybody. How we choose to present ourselves is one way, but we want to make sure that the focus never deters away, changing the systems that we have in place to protect us all and to make sure that we all have equality across the board.
Over the past few weeks, there's been sort of a reckoning among fashion brands and media outlets. I mean, some are being called performative, social media posts of organizations that have little or no Black employees at all. What are some changes that you'd like to see in fashion or in other creative spaces in terms of the Black voice, Black queer voice, or anything related?
This is where I'm at, and I have a long experience within the fashion industry. I think a lot of times we forget to put the word equal in front of opportunities. The fashion industry right now, a lot of brands are taking a different approach. They're saying, okay, we're going to hire more people of color. We're going to hire more Black employees. We're going to offer those opportunities on corporate levels. We're going to open the doors, right? But what they're forgetting is that we're not just asking for opportunities. Our communities are asking for equality with these opportunities as well. Same rate of pay, we want that because Black people still make way less than white people do. And that's just statistics. You can have the same education, you can have the same experience, and statistics will show that, unfortunately, because of your skin color, you will still be able to make less. Did they offer you an opportunity? Yes, but was it an equal opportunity? No.
We can take it with Pride Month. We've seen companies worldwide, they'll throw a rainbow just because. And July 1st, it's down. No, the work continues. Don't just show up now. We need that to continue. We need this pace. We need to keep it going.
And what's funny is what's happening now, it's like we're experiencing the Great Awakening, and that, America is trying to erase its years of guilt. This dates back to 400 years ago, this slavery. But to kind of get back on track with our industry, it feels like the fashion industry is just realizing that we wanted to be a part of it. They didn't even realize that we were their assistant designers or assistant editors or what have you. We've always worked in this industry, and we want to be a part of it in a bigger way than just working in the stores or working assistant jobs. This is about building equity within the Black community and within Black creatives. And we need to be able to have ownership of our own brands and our own businesses. It's bigger than just saying, oh, we support you. We want you to support us monetarily. We want you to support us, professionally and personally. This is a much bigger conversation than just saying, putting up a post saying Black Lives Matter on your page, and then the next post is we're having a 40% off sale. And I think this has been going on for far too long. It's time for a change. And I hope that this time that we're having right now is not just that, a time. I think this should be a movement and a continuation of how we need to be moving forward. And we need to make sure that businesses are held accountable. And we need to look at, not just the creative level, but the executive level. How many Black people are on the executive board and on your executive teams? I don't want this to be like a marketing ploy that, Black Lives Matter. This is for real. This is people's livelihood.
These are lives.
You know, this is serious. And I don't want it to be something that is just a wave. You know, I'm not here to glamorize this. This is great that we're talking, you know, with Women's Wear Daily. I think that's phenomenal and a great large platform. And I don't take that lightly, but I think the conversation needs to be for real, and we need to make some real changes.
Racism that's been going on in our country isn't something that's new. But what's happened, it's almost as if the society has had a moment where the curtain's been peeled and we've all said, aha, we caught you. So it is going on. So now here's the proof. You see it on video. It's going on. But this is nothing that's new. We want change to come because the people that are working within these companies, the Black people and people of different colors that are working in this company, we all have so much more to offer than just fetching coffee, you know, than just being in a retail store level, than just, you know, being in the background. We have so much to offer. The fashion industry has adopted so much of our language, so much of our culture, that why are we not, you know, being represented as much if everything that's being sold is part of our culture?
I guess I can give an example too. Like, you know, I've worked in this industry for years, and there was a brand that I was working for. Basically, it was like a tailoring brand, and on the floor was predominantly Black associates, but their office was right upstairs on like the 3rd floor. You go up to that office, and it's nothing but white people. Nothing but white people. So I'm like, what does that show? Any kind of promotions, you'd have to really jump through hoops to get to the next level in that business or in that company. So it was one of those things where if you're not a part of this culture or you're not a part of this visual standard, you're not going to progress within that company. And I think those are the kind of things that really discouraged me in fashion also, and feel like, do I even belong in this industry? You know, an industry that was not even built for me, for us. Right now, more than ever, it's like we need to make a real change, and it needs to happen swiftly.
So obviously, by the nature of protest and activism, those are massive political statements. November is coming. For me, I think it's probably the most important election of our lifetimes. What are you sort of hoping this movement can shape as far as the November election?
People need to vote more than anything. You know, we've been coming out in extremely large numbers. And just even this past Saturday or Sunday, we had that Black Trans Lives Matter march. What was it, 15,000 people?
They estimated it over 30,000.
Wow.
Huge. And numbers, and you know, people protesting in LA and just thousands of people. But my prayer is that all of that translates to the polls. All of that translates to people signing petitions. All of that translates to people staying informed and making sure that they are aware of what's going on in this community and what's going on in the government. And if we stay focused, we can make real changes. And that starts at the polls. So we need to vote, and vote like our lives depend on it. Because it does.
Because it does. Yeah.
It really does.
Yes, Black Lives Matter is like the main topic of that's trending right now, right? But then there are other reasons we need to vote as well, like the whole healthcare rule that was just passed on Friday, where, you know, healthcare can be denied to people LGBTQ plus community, trans and non-binary. That's another issue. There's several other issues that are going on that are just blatantly just wrong. It's just wrong against the humanity and equality within this government. And, you know, there's so many reasons that we have right now that we shouldn't have an excuse to not go out and vote, you know, and it affects all of us.
A great segue into my next question. I went to the Trans March this past weekend, and it was incredible to be there. So thinking about sort of the intersection of Black, queer, and trans voices into the Black Lives Matter movement, it's not always the voice that we hear about in the media coverage. Do either of you have some thoughts on that?
We just did a press conference yesterday with the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, and we were speaking on the effects of the healthcare ruling that Trump made on this past Friday and how it's going to affect that community. And we had a number of people from the trans and non-binary community speak on their experiences and how it affects them, because it's not just about they can't go to the doctor. This creates a mental fear in them, and it creates mental health issues within them, and And we need to address that immediately. These are our neighbors, these are our friends, these are family members, these are people within our community. And we need to treat them with the respect they deserve. You know, we are all on this earth to make a difference, and we are all on this earth to support each other and love each other. And if you're not on that wave, then, you know, you need to sit back and question, what is your role in this country? And how are you working to better, you know, for the betterment of the Black community and just the community of our country? You know, what is your role in making this life better? And if you don't have an answer to that, then I think you need to reevaluate your stance.
I want to make something very clear, because a lot of people think, you know, they're under the wrong impression of all the marches and protests and demonstrations. The fight isn't against race. The fight is against racism and the act of racism. So, you know, LGBTQ plus community, that's right underneath Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter didn't signify that not all Black lives matter, and that didn't signify that not other races matter. It just means that, you know, if you have melanin in your skin, any type of melanin in your skin, and you can be shot at before you could even, you know, speak or say what your resume is, then you're at risk. You're at risk. There was a lot of people within I'm a mixed man, so, you know, I'm Black first, but I'm also mixed. So, you know, within the Latin side of my family, a lot of them, before like all of this was going on, they had issues with saying, you know, we're Black too. And I had to clarify, you know, when we hear about the shootings going on, when we hear about discrimination going on, when we hear about hate going on, nobody's asking you, what is your education before they shoot you? They're not asking you, do you speak Spanish? They're not asking you, oh, who are you related to? No. If you have melanin in your skin, that is our fight. That is what we're fighting right now. We're fighting against racism. Now you have people saying, you know, we don't feel like Black Lives Matter is representing us as you know, as me being gay. You know, and I say, how can you not feel like that represents you when it actually, you know, that's one of our battles. Yes, we have double the battle to fight, and we matter simply because we exist first.
What in this moment is giving you hope?
The youth. It's the youth for me. Even at our demonstration, like we had a child getting a tutorial on how to tie a tie. We seen them march alongside of us. Fathers were bringing their sons out in their suits and things like that. It was just an amazing moment, and I'll never forget it, because I know we're doing this for them. We're doing this for us, but we're also doing it for the next generation.
You know, it gives me hope just seeing how the Black creatives have just come together to support each other. We're talking about, you know, taking care of each other and also just self-care and checking up on one another. And I think we're relearning the meaning of boundaries and understanding that, you know, we are fighting more than one fight. And this is extremely overwhelming.
For me, hope, where I get hope from right now is the future. We have to acknowledge that yesterday happened and we have to live in today, but our actions today are going to be what determines our future for tomorrow. And being that we're all taking action, you know, some people can't be out and protest. You know, some people are making paintings. Some people are writing poetry. You know, some people are singing songs. I think that action, that action that everyone's taking right now is where I'm getting my hope from. Even right now, I decided to put together like a small book. I call it CAR, Creatives Against Racism, where many people are contributing different materials to put together from the protests, the marches. Not everybody can be out there on the front lines. It's not for everybody. But that action that's being taken, that action that's allowing to say, okay, I'm going to create something that's going to be impactful, you know, that gives us all hope for the future. And that's where I draw my hope from, the future.